Hello everyone. This is for the horizontal and vertical line test for Algebra 2. The first thing you need to do on your worksheet is go ahead and find the inverses of each of the equations. So if this is y is equal to 3x minus 2, so if I come over here, y is equal to 3x minus 2, switch your x and y's as we've been doing, and now solve for y. So you have x plus 2 is equal to 3y, and then divide by 3. So your inverse is x plus 2 over 3. Do the same for this one. So you have y is equal to 6 minus 2x. So you would subtract, switch your x and y's, getting carried away. Subtract your 6, and then divide by negative 2. So you have x minus 6 over negative 2. And for this one, you've got y is equal to x squared plus 6. So x is equal to y squared plus 6. Subtract the 6. Take the square root. And remember, you guys, when you put an even root on the page that wasn't there before, remember the plus or minus is going to show up. So plus or minus the square root of x minus 6. And we'll talk a little more about that plus and minus in just a second. Now, before we talk about whether they are functions or not a function, the original or its inverse, whether they're functions or not, you guys need to go ahead and graph them. So those are on the next pages. Stick all this in your graphing calculator, one at a time, graph them, and you should get these equations. Now, yeah, for the first ones, do you really need to put it in your graphing calculator? I hope not. Remember, y is equal to mx plus b. Your y-intercept is negative 2, your slope is 3, so you go up 1, 2, 3 over 1, draw your line. That makes it a little bit harder. Y is equal to, remember you split it, so that would be x over 3 plus 2/3. So your y-intercept is 2/3, and your slope is rise 1, run 3. 1, 2, 3. There it is. Rise 1, run 1, 2, 3. There it is. Okay? Draw your line. So once you graph those, okay, same deals go on those. Now I need to talk to you about the plus and minus. When you go to type it in your calculator, you can only type one at a time. So if you do the plus version, you don't need to put the plus. You would type that, supposed to be a 6, and it will give you this graph here. So it's going to give you this upper half of it. Then you would type in your graphing calculator the negative version, square root x minus 6, and that will give you this lower version. So you have to graph two separate graphs. They combine to one. Now remember, when we reflected these over the lines y equals x, we drew on them with a pencil and folded it over, and then it left some graphite. It left a shadowy image. Okay, remember doing that in class? That's what you should expect. The positive version only gives you the upper half, and the negative version needs to complete it to give you the lower half, so you get the whole inverse. Okay, now let's talk to you about the horizontal and vertical line test. So if I go back to the first page here, we need to say, are they a function or are they not a function? I'm going to start out with the vertical line test. All right, if something's a function, let me clear this stuff out. If something's a function, that means for every x, there is only one y value. For every x, there's only one y. All right. The easiest thing for me to do is show you something that's not a function. So I'm going to do one of these sideways parabolas. If I were to draw a line, a vertical line through it, that means for this x value, I have a y here and a y here. So that means for that value of x, there are two y values. So this is not a function, because the definition is to be a function, for every x, there is only one y. So for that value of x, there was more than one y. So let's do it for a regular parabola. If you draw a vertical line through it, no matter where you draw it, not very vertical, it's only hitting the graph at one place. That means for that particular value of x, there's only one y value that goes with it. for that particular value of x, there's only one y value that goes with it. So this would be a function. This would not be a function. So coming back over to these, if you draw a vertical line through it, it's only hitting it once, right? So this is, yes, it is a function. Draw a vertical line through these. Yes, it is a function. So these first pair aren't that exciting. Yes, it's a function because a vertical line is only hitting it once. Yes, it's a function only hitting it once. Now getting into the curves is a little more interesting. Yes, it's only hitting it once. So it is a function. As soon as I start doing it to this, it's going to hit it more than once. So no, this is not a function. Nope, no function. So you would go back to the front page and you would say, yes, it is a function, 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 yes, it is a function. No, it is not a function. Okay. And then you would do that for the rest of these. Now, when we get down here to finding the inverses for these guys, it's not so bad. Switch your x and y. Then you square root both sides. Okay, to solve for it. So you'd have plus or minus. I don't know what I'm talking. Let me. I think I just screwed this up. I apologize, guys. Where that squared came from, I have no idea. Y is equal to the square root of x. Switch x and y. Oh my goodness. Now I square both sides to get rid of that square root. Okay, here we go. That's the inverse for this one. Now there's a problem with it. And after you guys do the graphs, it'll be easier for me to talk about why there's a problem on the inverses for these three. So I need to end it there with only giving you guys the beginning part of the information. Once you have it done, come and talk to me and I'll help you understand what's the last piece of information for finding the inverse. Now, let me come back up here and talk about the horizontal line test. Coming over to the graphs. Okay, let me go back to the one that's a little more interesting. These ones, whoops, these ones down here. Let me clear this stuff out. Okay. Right now, I can see this graph. So I test it with the vertical line to see if it's a function. Yes, it is a function. This one, I can see it. So I test it with the vertical line to see if it's a function. No, it is not a function. So if you can see the graph, you test it with a vertical line. Now, play the game for a second. You haven't invested any time or effort into finding this graph. You don't know what it looks like. Is this one a function? Yes, you test it with the vertical line test. Is its inverse a function? Well, you don't have the inverse. You don't know what it looks like. Remember that we flipped the stuff over this, the line y equals x. If you flip this vertical line that you're testing it with over that line, you fold it and do it, it becomes a horizontal line. All right, now why am I going there? Well, if I test this graph with a horizontal line, in its inverse, when you reflect it, it would become a vertical line. So, like I said, you can't see this graph. You don't know what it looks like. But if you test the original with a horizontal line, you're really testing its inverse with a vertical. So, if the original graph fails the horizontal line test, that means its inverse is not a function. If the original graph fails the horizontal line test, it means its inverse is not a function. Now let me come back over here. Some kids think that means you test the inverse with the horizontal line. No, that's not what I'm saying. If you can see the graph, you test it with a vertical line. If you can see the graph, you test it with a vertical line. That's not very vertical, but I think you understand my point. If it fails the vertical line test, it is not a function. Now, if you can't see the inverse, and all you've got in front of you is the original, and you want to know about the inverse, test the original with a horizontal line. If it fails, its inverse is not. Okay? I don't know know if I need to go back and repeat that, but I guess I'm going to. If you got it, you can stop listening. But if you're a little unsure, I'm looking at this graph. Is it a function? Yes, because it passes the vertical line test. Is this one a function? I test it with the vertical line because I can see it. So I test it with the vertical line test. It fails, so it is not a function. Now, if I can't see this graph, it is not in front of me, I don't know what it looks like, I test the original with a vertical line to see if the original is a function. Yes, this is a function. Then I can test the original with a horizontal line to see about the inverse. It failed the horizontal line test, so this is not a function. Okay, so that's the horizontal and vertical line test. I hope that helps. There you go.